Hello, hello. Good to see you. You get fairy dust. I get fairy dust. Boop, boop, boop. Fairy dust for the baby. We are going through this book, Complex PTSD From Surviving to Thriving, Pete Walker. I don't know if you saw my TikTok, but I got to email with Pete Walker, and he said he found my TikTok. Oh, his son found one of my TikToks about the fawn response, and he was very kind to me. And it was like, you know how they say don't meet your heroes, but he was so kind to me. So I felt very, very grateful. And he liked what we were up to over on TikTok, talking about the fawn response. Okay, so now we were talking about the things that constitute CPTSD. And the last thing that we talked about was toxic shame. And I'm just gonna go down this list, I'm on page 7, this list of common CPTSD symptoms. Emotional flashbacks. I promise I will get to emotional flashbacks. They really can be super duper complicated. But you know what, maybe it's time for me to focus on that on the next, in a few videos from now, because this might take a minute. Okay, so emotional flashbacks, tyrannical, his words, tyrannical. He's a fucking tyrant. Our inner saboteur, he or she is a fucking tyrant. And we're so mean to ourselves, but we also can be judgmental of other people. Like, what are they doing? What they're doing is stupid. What they're doing is dumb. Like, who would like, so it's inner and outer. For fawns, it's mostly inner. For fight mode people, it's usually outer. Of course, they're fighting with ourselves. Fight or flight could be either one. And freeze probably is like, well, you know, it's the inner critic is mean to us about how quote unquote lazy we are. But we also, our outer critic, it's almost like it's not specified. It's more like the world is bad. The outer critic is the world is bad. The world is scary. The world is terrible. One of my common refrains is I hate people, and I'm not going to say that anymore because that's a sign of my freeze mode and childhood trauma. So I will miss saying it though. RIP. Toxic shame, which is in the previous video to this. Social anxiety. Think about this. So I truly thought all my social anxiety and my shyness and my socially awkwardness was all an offshoot of my introversion. Remember, introversion is healthy. Extroversion is healthy. Those things are healthy. And I knew that social anxiety and shyness, those were going to the unhealthy side, but I thought they all stemmed from the way that I grew up, which is I changed schools almost every year. And so that just reinforces, you know, I'm trying to figure out these kids, but they already know each other. And so then it's another year of me not really connecting and more social anxiety. It just is a vicious cycle. But now I realize that my social anxiety comes from my childhood trauma. And think about it. If we were raised in not the safest of places, or, you know, we tried to shine and then got shamed for it, and we're carrying around all this toxic shame, of course we're going to be afraid to talk to people, because we already think our inner critic has already told us we're a piece of shit and we're stupid and we're dumb and they'll hate us. So of course we're afraid of people. This curl's bothering me. We're afraid of people because we're afraid that they're going to have the same opinion of us as the people that have abused us, but also that we have of ourselves. So of course we're scared. This was enlightening to me that my introversion is healthy and separate from my social anxiety. So I thought that was brilliant. Abject feelings of loneliness and abandonment, bitch. Yes, I was always lonely. Like, my loneliness wasn't at home because I'm a bitch that enjoys solitude and I'm a freeze mode bitch, but my loneliness always was within a group of people because I felt invisible. And I felt overlooked and I felt so lame and disgusting. So, that loneliness is so painful. It's way more painful than the one when you're alone by yourself. the loneliness with other people is just devastating. Fragile self-esteem, like if we have any, most of us have zero. Maybe we have found a place where we've got a little bit of self-esteem. Like I was kind of good at school, so that was a little bit of self-esteem. You know, I thought I was maybe good at something, like maybe a good at like English versus math or something, like good, you know, little like, oh, I'm good at that, or I'm, you know. But let me tell you, the minute anything refutes that, so if I don't get a good grade on that English test, I'm going straight into an emotional flashback. I'm going straight into a complex of I'm stupid, I'm dumb. It's so fragile. Like it's more fragile than an eggshell. Like it's more, our self-esteem is so fragile. Like anything can just send it tumbling. Because remember, we have so little of it because we have a loss of self, especially when we're a fawn. The other ones have loss of self too, but especially if it's a fawn. Attachment disorder, of course. We didn't have great attachments growing up, and so if we can, you know, we continue to grow, the way that we attach is how we're going to attach in the future, which is why a lot of people who are raised with an alcoholic marry an alcoholic. That's the way that we know how to attach. We know how to attach to an alcoholic. We know the crazy making that comes from that. Oh, bitch, developmental arrests. I can't wait to tell you. There's a lot of things we don't get to go through. An example is, he goes deeper into it, and I can't wait to talk about it in the next few videos. He goes into, one of the things they taught us in treatment. So they said that whenever we started our addiction is our level of emotional wellness and emotional health. So anyway, I'm 32 or whatever, and going to treatment and gonna get all this, you know, experience, strength, and hope, and help with my eating disorder. But when I do, I have the emotional capacity of a 16-year-old. And so because I arrested it with my eating disorder. Mine's really early because my eating disorder started super, super, super early. But that's what that means, is that we don't go through development the way that we need to be completely mentally well. Relationship difficulties, that goes without saying, of course. Radical mood vacillations, like, you know, happy, things are great. And then that's also fragile. Crash. I'm going on vacation. This is wonderful. Somebody has an attitude. I knew we can't go on vacation. Also very, very fucking fragile. And I will tell you that I was diagnosed with mood swings, but it was because of my addictions. And now we know also because of childhood trauma. And he says, like, a lot of us get misdiagnosed because of the way childhood trauma acts in us and reacts in us. Dissociation, distracting activities, that's freeze mode for sure. Hair triggered fight or flight, like just give me a second of being mean to me, or second of like something not going well, I gotta get out, or, you know, start fighting. Oversensitivity to stressful situations, yes. And like, I can't do scary movies. You know what I can't do, which is really sad? Uncomfortableness. Like, I can't do The Office. Like, I watched it for the first few years because of my never-ending love for Steve Carell and his amazing talent and how hard he makes me laugh. But I couldn't hang because of the awkwardness and sitting. Can't do it. So, and he talks about suicidal ideations. I'm not going to talk much more about that. It is listed in his book. But if you have that, you need to contact somebody immediately. But he talks about it, and it's well worth reading what he has to say on it. But obviously, if you have any of that, it's time to talk to somebody as soon as fucking possible. Okay, love you. Bye.